welcome to episode 23 of Scar Bearers. I'm Chris D.T. Gordon. As always, it's great to have you here with me today. And Nate Barron, you continue to impress me every week with that theme music. If you want your own theme music, you can reach out to Nate at the little A with the circle around it, Nate Barron. That's at Nateberan. All right. I still don't have any reviews for the podcast or the YouTube channel that hit my funny bone or make me say, what was that person thinking? So, I just want some feedback. I want to know how things are going. And yes, I do have 7 reviews so far on the podcast, and I do appreciate them all. I want some more. I want some more eyes and ears on my channel so I know that my message is being heard. So please leave a funny or weird or informational review on either channel, and I will read it if it strikes me funny or strikes me weird. And you know what? Let me know also if you want me to go through the transformation process of one of my Transformers. Here I'm holding Grimlock. It is a reissue. I believe he was made 3 or 4 years ago. It's one of my favorite all-time Transformers. I don't like this version, frankly, because the hips are really wide. I don't know. It looks like he's just really bottom heavy. I mean, maybe he's been doing squats. I don't know. But let me know if you want me to transform one of my Transformers. I will definitely do it. I know. Weird, right? But who are you listening to? All right. Today, I am talking with my friend, Dr. Heidi Cooke, a doctor of physical therapy who discusses how her struggles with wellness has motivated her to help others facing their own struggles and issues with wellness. And today's sponsor is Daylight Savings Time, or Daylight Saving Time, if you're correct. Proof that continuing to live in the past is never a good idea, especially if you have little kids. Seriously, Daylight Saving Time needs to stop. There's no need. We're good. Thank you. All right. Deep breaths. All right. Please enjoy my conversation with Heidi. Hey, welcome back to Scar Bearers. This is Chris D.T. Gordon. It's so great to have you here. I'm joined with my new friend, Dr. Heidi Cooke. How are you today, Heidi?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And so you are a doctor of physical therapy. How long have you been in practice?
Yeah, so a year and some change. So a year last May was officially certified. So
excellent.
New to the world, but I've been in the health and wellness game for going on 4 years now. So
excellent. Well, you have to start somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And like many people, you and I share this trait of being high school athletes.
Yeah.
And what sports did you play in high school?
I played soccer mainly. That was my big focus. I also played basketball, and then I ran track just to stay in shape, really. And then one season I had an MCL injury, and so I played doubles tennis as like a one-off, kind of a joke. I stood there in my straight leg brace while my partner ran around the court, and I just kind of stood in place and swung my racket around. But that was just to keep me busy.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
And so, and as high school athletes, being teenagers, we felt like we could eat whatever we wanted just to fill our bellies and keep us going.
Yeah.
But it seems like you had a troublesome turn with that. You mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So, like you said, I was a high school athlete. Never really thought twice about like my physical appearance. Everything was performance driven. Like I ate so that I could go, to a soccer practice for 2 hours. And then after that, go, to the, hour conditioning that we had or whatever. And so I was just kind of fueling my body. And it was it was simple, right? And I was so active with so many different activities that that thought process never really, crossed my mind. And then, I graduated and went to college, and all of my exercise had been focused on some sort of performance outcome. I weight trained so that I was strong to play soccer. We ran so that I was conditioned to play, weekend long soccer tournaments where we're playing, 5 games in 2 days, or, it was always very goal driven. And then all of a sudden that goal is like gone, right? Which is, at that point, 95% of my identity was sports. Mm-hmm. And I had some injuries, and I toyed around with, going and playing community college. I wasn't, good enough to go play at a D1 school. And truthfully, I was ready to be done and kind of turn the page on a new chapter. But in that new chapter, I couldn't really figure out like what my purpose was, or why I should be, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, or why I should be exercising in the gym. And I just felt really lost because I didn't have that structure anymore. And then I also didn't have that goal anymore. And so throughout kind of that first year, I started gaining weight. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was eating because I never had to in the past. I was really just kind of trying to navigate this new chapter, and it just was not working out very well for me. And so one day I was feeling really uncomfortable in my body. I remember sitting down in a chair, and I just could like feel the extra weight on me. I was like short of breath almost after, not even, doing anything too strenuous. And that was not like me at all, coming from playing multiple sports. And I was just like, whoa, okay, something needs to change. And I was, thrust into this college environment where, I was surrounded by other females who, were in the same boat I was. And everybody was kind of just going down this path of, how do I look a certain way? Everything was very physical appearance driven. And so I kind of went from one extreme of not being able to figure out kind of, how to maintain a healthy lifestyle to this new extreme of how do I lose this weight the quickest? And that new goal, that new focus was completely appearance driven. And that was a really, really toxic rabbit hole I went down, just as far as looking for any source of information on the internet, right? Which is just a big dark hole of info. How do I lose weight? How do I get a 6-pack? How do I do this? How many calories should I be eating? And it basically spiraled into a really unhealthy relationship with my body, a really unhealthy relationship with food, and a really unhealthy relationship with exercise, where I was under eating, over exercising. And I truthfully, I looked great, like by any subjective, opinion. I had people telling me, oh my gosh, you look so great. And I was, kind of feeding off all of this external validation I was getting too, which just made the cycle just go even deeper. And I, at that time, was working as an athletic training student. So I was in the health and wellness space at that point. And, helping these athletes, be their best and strongest self. And I was not practicing what I was preaching, because, behind the scenes, I was really, really starving my body. But like from the outside looking in, like I was just being health conscious, and I put air quotes around health conscious, because that was like the outward expression that I was giving off. And really I was just torturing myself. And it really kind of took a turn. One morning, me and a friend of mine, we would exercise in the mornings at 5 a.m. Before we had our 6 a.m. treatment session with the football team. And, Heidi wants to go exercise in the morning. Great. Like that's a perfectly healthy habit to form, whatever. But like I barely ate dinner the night before. I didn't eat breakfast that morning, and I'm running these stadiums at our, college football stadium, and I'm running these stadiums, and I'm getting up, and all of a sudden the world just like spun around me. I was so sick. I started throwing up nothing. I had nothing in my stomach to throw up. I was like gray, like ghost white. Was like, my friend had to help carry me back to the locker room. I was sitting on the floor of the locker room, like could barely like form a sentence. It was ugly. And
no, it was, just to take back yourself, I'm sorry. Stadiums mean like running up and down the stadium steps, right?
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we were just doing some like cardio training, and I had just pushed it, and that my body just finally like shut down and was like, we're not doing any more of this. And so I was sitting on the locker room floor, and another athletic trainer came in and offered me, she's like, here, drink this Gatorade. And I remember sitting on the floor in that moment, not wanting to drink the Gatorade because of how much sugar was in it. And that was like my big light bulb moment. I was like, Heidi, your body is screaming for something, for anything. It needs something. And like mentally in my brain, I was like, well, no, I can't drink that because it has too much sugar. And then all of a sudden, like everything kind of clicked in. And that was kind of like my big wake up call of like, holy shit, pull it together, Heidi. Yeah. Like, well, you really need to get your health in order here. So that was kind of my big path, I guess.
Wow. And so, I'm assuming you get up off the floor of the locker room. And so what is your first step after that revelation?
Yeah. So I had to do a lot of self-reflection. Why was I doing what I was doing? What was my driver? What was my purpose behind like what was causing me to take action in such a drastic way? And so that was my first step. I remember, I still had a job to do that day. Like my athletes were coming in for 6 a.m. treatments. I got off the floor that morning. I had the Gatorade. I pulled myself together. I remember eating like a Cliff Bar or something. And I was like, okay, get through the day. And I just remember that day kind of like being in like a weird fog. And I'm sure part of it was because of what happened that morning. But the other part of it was like, I was in this like deep self-reflection of like, what are you doing to yourself? And then I started clicking in, I'm telling these athletes to do one thing and take care of their bodies in a certain way. And I'm not doing that. And so like almost being thrust into that environment right after I had kind of had my light bulb moment really helped. It helped me in a way of just like, putting the spotlight on what I needed to do next. And that was to kind of just take a step back from my current habits and let the reins go a little bit. And so I had kind of an adjustment period there for a while where I was kind of trying to navigate what normal looked like for me. But really that first step was just a lot of self-reflection on what was driving me to take drastic action. And, was that really going to be fulfilling for me long-term?
Yeah. And so, after that realization, what did you do then? What did you find yourself really like overhauling your entire process? Did you take a step back from your training, or did you find yourself just making small adjustments?
Yeah. So I kind of took a big step back for a little while there. And I actually ended up getting into PT school. So this was kind of the summer between my graduation and then going on to PT school. And so
where
I
did
took
you go to school? I don't think I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We never established it. Where are you going to school at this time?
Yeah. So I was at Boise State University. That's where I did my undergraduate. That's where I got my athletic training certification. And those are the sports teams that I was working with at the time. Okay. And then I graduated and went to George Fox University in Newberg, Oregon. And that was my graduate program.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. And so I kind of took a big step back. I was still exercising just because like that felt good to me. But I really wasn't taking a big overhaul into like my nutrition. I deleted all food tracking apps on my phone. Because I think I had like 3, because I had one that like would track macros. I had one that would like link up to my Fitbit so I could see like what net calories I was burning during the day and then consuming. And then I had another one that was just like calorie nutritional information where you could like scan labels and stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was a mess, man. It was a mess.
And by macros, what is that?
Yeah, so like macronutrients. So like how many grams of protein is in, it would break down like a meal. So if you tracked a meal, it would be like, okay, there's this many grams of protein, there's this many grams of carbohydrates, and this many grams of fat, like the 3 big key players in macronutrients, because there is like some ideals that you can shoot for, but like I was taking it to a whole nother level.
Gotcha. So you're like the person that really liked the fact that restaurants now had all that information in the menu, so you could like type it in when you're ordering.
Oh yeah. At that time, that is, yeah, for sure. So I kind of just like took a step back from all of that. Like I said, I was still exercising, and then I got into PT school, and I think PT as a whole, there are so many different avenues you can go down. And I don't think that's like widely understood. And it truly, for me at the time, like I thought I was, I went this athletic training route. I was working with college athletes. I thought I was going to go to PT school, and I was like 95% sure that I was going to go into some outpatient ortho clinic or be working in collegiate athletics again after graduation. Like that's just what I thought I was going to do. And then I kind of got introduced to what real wellness was, what exercising for longevity was, what, overall health and wellness, mentally, physically, environmentally, all of these different components. And that was like, I was like, why do I have to be sitting in a damn doctorate program to be learning this information? Like, why is this quality of information reserved for this setting? Like, why is this not mainstream? Why is this not like widely understood or widely practiced? And so I started applying all of these concepts to myself throughout school. I started exercising to make sure that I was controlling my stress and anxiety from school, because that program challenged me in so many ways, academically, emotionally. Like it was crazy. And so exercise was just like, instead of the goal being a certain aesthetic, exercise during the week was a way for me to control stress and anxiety. Instead of focusing on, nutrition for looking a certain way, it was, okay, what's going to make me feel good? What's going to allow me to sleep really well so I wake up feeling refreshed? What's going to keep me energized throughout the day? What's going to energize me to do that workout that's controlling my stress and anxiety? And how am I going to improve my sleep quality? And all of these different things that we were learning about, I just started to apply to myself. And I was like, I feel amazing. Like it was like such a crazy kind of turn of events for me. And so, yeah, for that first year or so, I was trying to eat healthy and I was trying to exercise, but I had to be really careful because it was kind of easy for me to like fall back into old behaviors and start like feeling really guilty if I missed a workout, or feeling really guilty if I like went out with classmates out for, burgers and a beer or whatever. And so it wasn't all of a sudden I was able to flip a switch and have it all figured out, but I just started like slowly applying all of these different tools to my own life. And I was just like, whoa, this feels so good.
Yeah. And I think that's huge for people to hear, is that making a lifestyle change does not happen with a snap of a fingers, or, you go to sleep one night and then in the morning you wake up, hey, I am totally new. I'm totally different. It's baby steps, from, like, what about Bob? You have to take those baby steps, and you have to scaffold and build on those and build on those.
Yeah, totally. And I think we live in a society that's very instant, gratification driven. Mm-hmm. And I was that way, right? It was I was looking up Pinterest articles and was, reading up on diets, and I had books on different diets on, how I was going to lose weight the fastest, or, how I was going to get the quickest results or the easiest results, or all those sorts of different things. And truthfully, like, that will give you short-term results. Absolutely. But if you think about, people who start a diet or, start on some very restrictive like workout regimen or something like that, people will typically lose anywhere from like 5 to 10% of their starting body weight in the first 6 months. And then there was a study that they did a follow-up 4 years later, over 2/3 of the participants had gained more weight than their starting weight back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it's like, so if you look at success, right, a successful program, if you will, it's like, maybe you lost 20 pounds, that was your goal, or maybe you, were exercising, a crazy amount or whatever it was. And it was successful for a short period of time. But like, if you look 4 years later, was that program really successful? And so that's kind of my whole thing is how do we become healthy, happy is the other key, happy individuals. So you need to find joy in what you're doing, for the rest of your life, not for 6 months, not for, a year, not for, a time period that's truly just a drop in the bucket if you're looking at the scope of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you work with patients now, do you, do you work with a certain kind of patient, or is it do you work with athletes solely, or what is your client? What is the makeup of your clientele?
Yeah, it's super broad right now, honestly. Right now I'm kind of in a phase where I'm just trying to get the good information out there. Like, I am just really trying to empower anybody that wants a change, that has tried something or is just, really sick of feeling the way that they're feeling, and empowering them with the knowledge and the tools that they need to make a change. And that client doesn't look a specific way right now. Like I said, it is really broad. It's, anybody from, I have a client who's, in their like late 50s and, are setting new goals for what they want life after retirement to look like. And they want to, not feel the way that they've been feeling. I've worked with college students who, again, were kind of like me, somebody who was once an athlete and is struggling to navigate the world of not being an athlete anymore. So really, it hits all ends of the spectrum, and it might get more narrow down the road, but for right now, like, I'm just really enjoying, empowering people with the knowledge that they need to make a change.
That's great. So let's role play a little bit. Say if I come to you and I say, Dr. Heidi, I would like to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I come to you with that. How do you respond? What is your first step?
Yeah. So, my first question would be why? Like, why is that your goal? Because for a lot of people, right, they want to lose, weight, or like, that's the goal that's in their head, because that's the society we live in. It's pretty weight driven, but I'm not against weight goals. There are other people out there that think that weight should be part of the equation at all. But if you look at the research, there's kind of a U-shaped curve of the correlation between weight and chronic illness risk. And when I say chronic illness, I'm talking cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, things of that nature, a lot of which can be prevented with lifestyle modification. So if we're looking at this curve, it spikes up when you're underweight, right? And then as you get into a healthy weight range, your chronic illness risk really comes down, levels out for a large healthy weight range, and then it spikes again once you start getting into that overweight range as well. So I don't think we can ignore it as part of the equation, but I think I would, again, ask you why. Why is that your goal? And for a lot of people, carrying around that extra weight just doesn't feel good. They're feeling fatigued. They don't have that energy that they want. And for a lot of people, like, we feel more confident when we look good and we feel good about the way that we look. But that also doesn't come with a number. And so we have to dive into that as well, because you can chase after that number and you hit that number and you can still not like the way you look in the mirror. So we address that as well. And so we kind of dive into the why that's your goal, and then maybe redirect into, okay, what does that actually look like for you? What does being 20 pounds lighter do for you? What does that life look like? And paint that picture a little bit more and kind of redirect the focus. And then figure out kind of your personal barriers or your personal struggles that you're dealing with, and how I can help you impact that. And for the most part, that kind of boils down to like 5 main foundations of wellness. Movement. For a lot of people, finding joy in movement is really hard, right? Where a lot of people think, if I'm going to exercise more, like I need to run or I need to go to the gym, when really there's a wide array of ways that we can stay active and get our heart rate up into that moderate or high intensity zone to get the benefit from exercise that we need. And so exploring that with them. The second one is fuel or nutrition. What does that look like for you? How do we incorporate nutrient dense foods with a lot of freedom for you to eat foods that you enjoy and have the freedom, because life happens, right? We go out for drinks with friends, and we go get froyo with our kids, or whatever it is, right? And figuring out how you can navigate that and how you can fuel your body so it feels really good. The third one is rest. I think it's a big piece that's often overlooked. There's a lot of things that we can't control with rest, like kids, or for people that are working, night shift or swing shift or things of that nature, or caregivers or whatever it may be. But there's a huge list of modifiable risk factors for your sleep quality that we'll dive into, because if you sleep better, you feel better, you're more energized, you're more, likely to go exercise and fuel your body well, versus if you don't sleep so great. And then we dive into reflection or mental health. How can we really kind of chip away at taking steps preventatively for your mental health? For a lot of people, we don't seek out mental help until there's a problem, right? Until it's something that's beyond our control. So how do we, if there is something that needs to be addressed professionally, how do we get you connected with somebody that you can talk to? And then if you're, feeling somewhat okay, but how do we check in on your mental health and make sure that we're maintaining your mental health and keeping you in a happy and joyful place, and able to, navigate life's stressors in a way that works for you. And then lastly is just goal setting. My favorite saying is a goal without a plan is like letting a drunk college girl loose in Target with no list in your wallet. It's like really, really fun to watch maybe, but it's not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
And so helping them set goals that really kind of revolve around action steps, and really set out that roadmap for them to reach their goals. And so, that's kind of the process that we'd go through.
That's excellent. No, 2 things that came to mind while you're explaining that is, first of all, I totally agree with you about mental health. Mental health is health.
Yeah.
Because if your mind is not in a proper frame, your body is going to follow. You may look healthy on the outside, but that's a facade.
Totally.
And
yeah.
So I totally agree with you that, people need to take mental health as seriously as they do their physical health, and not treat it as some kind of stigma.
Totally. Yeah. We talk about that all the time, training your brain, right? You need to train your brain just like you would train any muscle in your body. And that takes practice, right? Like to sit down and meditate. I've had people be like, meditation sucks. I don't know what to do. Like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? And I'm like, well, the first time you picked up a weight, like, were you able to, squat the weight you're squatting now? No. Okay. So you're not going to be able to sit down and, address your mental health perfectly the first time. And I'm not saying meditation's the only way to do that, but like, just figuring out how we can do some mental health check-ins. And for a lot of people, we're starting at ground zero because they've never dove into that in deep within themselves before. And so taking that first step is just like picking up a weight for the first time.
Yeah. And then the second thing that came to mind is that while we're working on this goal of losing 20 pounds, what you explained is, and you didn't say it in so many words, but you're helping the person develop confidence within the process.
Totally.
It's not, the losing the 20 pounds is a product of that building confidence, but it's the process that builds that confidence.
Totally. Yeah. I talk about that a lot, about how, instead of maybe striving for a specific number on the scale, and like I said, weight loss goals are fine if it's appropriate, but chasing after a specific number can kind of lead us down an undesirable path. And a lot of times, if we can just get the behaviors in check, like if we can get all of these other areas in check, the process in check, the byproduct is probably going to be weight loss if it's appropriate for that person. Excellent. And that building confidence just comes with practice, right? It comes with a series of keeping those promises to yourself and just really starting to believe in what you can do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And again, I really that holds true for me, in the various things that I do, that sometimes I think about, oh, I'm not there yet. But then I have to realize, well, think about where I've come from.
Yeah.
And, you fall back on the processes you use to get there. And that is where the confidence is built. And so
yeah,
I think that's
totally
fantastic.
Yeah, I think that comes with a big self-reflection piece, right? Like, how often do we really look back? We get so caught up in the future, where we're going. But yeah, like you said, pausing for a second and taking a step back and being like, whoa, where did I come from? Where I'm sitting now is probably where I was shooting to be, 6 months ago or whatever. And that's, I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. And so what is next for you? What's your next goal, I guess, if you're that you're developing confidence while working towards?
Yeah, totally. For me, it's just to continue to lead by example. I think that was a big wake up call for me when I was a student athletic trainer, realizing that I was not practicing what I was preaching. And as I move forward, I just want to continue to lead by example and inspire others to do the same, whether that's for their professional life, for their family, setting good examples for their children, whatever that looks like for them. I just want to inspire other people to really dive into taking control of their health and just leading by example. And I just want to continue to do that for myself and reach as many people as I can to do the same.
That's wonderful. And if someone were to want to find out more about you, Heidi, where would they find that information?
Yeah, so the easiest way to connect with me is on Instagram, pro.motion.wellness. You can also check out the website at pro-motion-wellness.com. I have one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I run seasonal challenges. And I honestly just 2 days ago launched my first course. So it's an introductory health course that kind of helps people lay the groundwork. And it's built around self-reflection and kind of utilizing these tools to apply to their own life. So that's on the website as well under the courses tab.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that. I'm excited to see what transpires with that. And then finally, my last question, my audience always wants to know, what is your favorite dinosaur?
We talked about this. It's a Brachiosaurus. It's the long neck one. Yes. And I think it's just because my favorite animal is a giraffe. I'm super short, and I think it's just like a lifelong fantasy to be able to like tower over everybody else and see, and their long neck like reminds me almost of like a scope on a submarine, like being able to look up above the trees and everything. And so I think that's why it's my favorite one.
Excellent. Well, I have to say you're either the first or the second Brachiosaurus I've had. So
Ooh, let's go.
that's cool.
Let's
Oh, yeah,
go.
right. Yes. All right. Well,
That's awesome.
Dr. Heidi Cooke, thanks very much for joining me today. I greatly appreciated the conversation, and I hope things go well in this coming adventure of yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Hey, I hope you liked that conversation with Heidi. If you want to reach out to her, her website is pro-motion-wellness.com. You can also find her on Instagram at pro.motion.wellness. And her podcast is Pro Motion U, the letter U. Bonus, if you check out her podcast and look up episode number 45, you will find her conversation with yours truly. As always, I humbly ask you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please give me a review because I like to hear feedback from all the work that I do and what I can do to help you further. If you want to check out what I'm up to in the speaking world, you can go to chrisdtgordon.com. You can also check me out at Chris DT Gordon on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you can always check out the Scar Bearers podcasts, as opposed to Scars on Bears. Though if that's your thing, cool. All right. One more time, thank you to Nate Barron for that fantastic theme music. Everyone have a great day, and remember to pass on perfection and go for greatness.